Welcome to Hope, Health, and Ha-Has, where we talk about everything with a little humor along the way. I'm your host, Winnie Chan. Today's episode is really important and very heartfelt one because we're talking about fertility and also something that isn't talked about enough, especially in our community. As an Asian woman, many of us grew up in an environment where topics like infertility, IVF, or even anything reproductive health were like quiet, sometimes avoided, sometimes it was just considered very unnormal. But today we're going to be changing that. So I'm so honored to have Diana here with us, who is bravely sharing her fertility journey and what's been like navigating this experience with the Asian culture. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so before we dive in, I would love for you to introduce yourself, like who you are, what you do, and just a little bit of you outside of your fertility journey.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I am Diane, and I will be 44 next month, which is insane. After uh, like a decade of struggling with infertility, my husband and we sought out the IVF journey. We did 4 rounds, two successful, two unsuccessful. But outside of that, yeah, right now I am just a full-time working mom. Yeah, and just trying to survive every single day. So that's me in a nutshell right now.
Well, you look really good for being going to be 44. I would have never guessed that at all. So,
Hey,
whatever you're doing, girl, share that secret.
my mom, she's got good genes.
Yeah. Well, I always love starting here because we are so much more than our fertility journey. I really appreciate you sharing a little bit about yourself. Because at the same time, it's such a big part of our story besides just
Mhm.
being going through fertility. So you share like a little bit about your fertility journey. Like, what did you start off as and where you're at now?
Yeah, sure. I don't know how far back you want me to go, but I'll just kind of skip through some of the parts. But yeah, no, after my husband and I got married a year in, we decided that we wanted to grow our family. And so, we were trying and nothing was happening within that first year. So we were like, oh, let's just keep praying. Let's wait on it. And then I had like really bad abdominal pain at the time. And then I went to the ER to kind of check out what was going on with my stomach, and I found a really big cyst in my ovaries. And so I didn't know that that was partial of the cause of why I couldn't get pregnant. So both of my fallopian tubes are blocked. We did the whole, HSG. We've done like basically all of the procedures to verify to see why I couldn't get pregnant. Um, and so, yeah, we just kept thinking, keep praying, a miracle will happen, even though we knew both of my fallopian tubes were scarred. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it started. And then I think as the years went on, we knew that we desired a child, but we weren't like really pursuing it as far as we're going to fertility doctor because we just kept thinking it'll happen, it'll happen. And then I think year 9 uh, of us being married, I think I was already like 38, 39, and we were like, "Are we gonna do this or not? Because if not, we're both turning 40 soon. If we're just not gonna have any kids, then that's just gonna be the end of it." And I didn't really want to pursue IVF just because of all the things that I heard that I would have to do. And so I grieved thinking that I would never have any children, and then really prayed about it. And then my husband was like, like this feeling of desiring for a child is never going to go away unless we try. So our goal was to just give it all we got. And if it didn't happen, then okay, then we knew that, we've already blessed to live another day. Um, so yeah, we went to the fertility doctor, and yeah, we did again like 4 rounds of IVF. The first one was a fail. The second was successful with my son. The third one failed, and then my fourth round was successful with my daughter. So um, it was very brutal as I expected. But I think part of infertility is the way our mind plays with us. I'd always say the mental part is definitely stronger than the physical part. I mean, once you start jabbing yourself, it just becomes a game. It's just like, it just becomes normal, but it's the mentality of, am I strong enough to do this? Can I go on another day and do this? So yeah, that's kind of where we are. We decided that our family's complete. In my heart of hearts, I would have wanted a bigger family,
Mhm.
but because again, I'll be 44 next month, and I'm going to be super high risk. Even with my daughter 2 years ago, I was already high risk, and I went through, yeah, a lot of health problems with her. So I don't know if we want to risk that. So I currently still have 6 embryos frozen, which I'm in the process of donating them. So that's been really, really hard to think about and talk about. Um, just some things that I wish that someone would have walked me through because I didn't even think about stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Our family's complete, and yeah, we're just praying that our frozen embryos will be donated to loving families.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Like you mentioned about like prayers and faith, and I could totally relate to that. Like going through my fertility journey, our last round losing our boy. So I just finished up reading Job. I think it's Job or Jew.
Uh-huh.
It's And in that section talked about this guy named Job. I'm probably pronouncing it
Job.
incorrectly. Job, thank you.
Job. Yeah.
Job. Okay,
Uh-huh.
thanks. So I'm still a newbie, Kirsten. So apologize to anybody listening in. I'm a newbie.
We're all newbies. Yeah.
And I just finished up reading that, and it talked about how um, God actually brought the devil into his life, and not necessarily to hurt him, but almost to get him closer to God.
Hmm.
And when I went through our last IVF, losing our boy, I didn't understand really faith, prayers, or any of that because I was Buddhist. And something about me during that time had me walk into a church. I wanted peace, I wanted some clarity, but at the same time, it just something told me to go in there. So I went in there and I prayed. And people that are navigating through this, you mentioned about lots of prayers and a lot of mental. What is your relationship with prayers and how do you navigate that? But like somebody that's new or somebody that's always been praying, what is your advice?
Yeah, I think, because I didn't grow up as a Christian too, so I always think about, like if a person was to experience Christ in the first place, I would say, I mean, because a lot of people think that when you're praying, you have to say the right things, you have to say, these big words, and so I always just say, just talk to God like he's your friend, like be real with him because that's who he is. He wants to hear the ugly. He wants to hear the good stuff. He wants you to praise him. He wants everything. So, when I was going through it and especially through um my failed rounds, oh yeah, I'm cursing God out like, why? Why everybody else? Why not me? Like what's wrong with me? So, I think as far as for prayers, that's me. It's just being real and talking to him, like he's a friend. Um and yeah, he took me through the valleys, and, knowing that he was walking with me, I just felt closer because I felt like he wasn't gonna bring me to something that he knew I wasn't strong enough for. And so yeah, I would, suggest like a new believer, just talk to him like he's a friend because
Mhm.
yeah, you're not gonna have like there's no special words or anything that he's gonna throw a little bit more grace at you or anything like that. So yeah.
Mhm. No, I like that because that's what I've been doing quite a lot with the restart of the fertility journey. Is been having moments with him and talking to him, and I'm not swearing as much at him as I was before. This time I think I'm a little bit more like, okay, I I'm just going with the flow and having that believe and that faith. And I remember you said just believing at the very beginning when you're like, I'm just going in here, I'm believing it. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to have faith in it. And I think that's so strong
Mhm,
of having that with going through this because our physical body will, the bruises will heal when it comes to
mhm,
those shots. But
mhm,
our mind is what is going to really screw us up. And it still is. And having somebody there to constantly talk with her, for me, opening up the Bible and reading that to give me some sort of clarity and peace because it's so hard to be in faith for me, but also be logical where I'm like, okay, am I being delusional here? Like
mhm,
going into it this time, like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be great. I'm just gonna go with
mhm,
the flow. But in reality, deep down, I'm like, honey, this just sounds so crazy. But
mhm,
at the same time, it actually gives you that hope and that peace. Like I
mhm,
I know that 50% is science and then the 50% is out of our hands.
mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you kind of nailed it. I mean, it's, like we do our best and
Mhm,
whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And no matter what, like we still have to praise God for it.
mhm.
So, yeah.
So how are you navigating the donation of your um eggs? You said that you're doing it on your own and I haven't heard anything like through social media of anybody that's going through what you're going through now. So like I hope you don't mind. Can you share a
Oh,
little bit of details of that a little bit more?
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I thought IVF was hard, but this whole donating embryos, I feel like has been harder just because I know that these are my babies. This is my DNA. And again, like at the beginning of it, they just want you to create as many as possible to give you more possibilities of getting pregnant. But nobody had ever talked to me about what are we going to do when we decide that our family is complete, and just knowing that you have other embryos out there. I created them to give them life, right? So my perspective is I don't want them to be frozen forever. And so I always think that, the embryos that we created were never ours to begin with. They were always God's children. So I think in the hopes of that, that's the only way that I was able to um put them up for adoption. And again, like this is really, really hard because again, like in my mind, they are my babies. It's very, very hard. So we have looked through a couple of adoption agencies and it's kind of cool because you get to decide if you want to do a closed adoption, a semi open adoption, or like an open adoption. And that just basically means like, closed adoption is you don't know where your babies are going to go. A semi is adoption, open adoption is kind of like you get to send them cards and let them know that, hey, I'm your biological mom or whatever. And that's about it. And then the open adoption is like basically you're still kind of in their lives as well. But the person that's going to be adopting them, the couple that's going to be adopting them, they would have to be open to it too. So as far as for finding adoptive families, we have to all agree be at the same levels. So at first, I mean, I was like all for like closed adoption. Like I don't want to know where my babies are going just because I know that I have attachment issues and I'm going to be on social media all the time, like, take care of my baby, or so, I mean, it's just these thoughts that go through your brain. Like, it's just, y- you want to know that they're taken care of. But again, I have to come to the realization that, once they're adopted out, they're not, they're not mine anymore. You know what I mean? Like physically, they're not mine, but mentally, I know that they are mine because they're gonna look like my kids, right? They're gonna look like me. Like a part of me is always gonna be with them. But again, I think God really spoke to me in that kind of way and just say he just told me like they were my children to begin with. You are my child too. And so I think I've come to be more content with it. But yeah, I struggled with it so hard knowing that they were still frozen, and even still now, like we're still looking for families. We get to interview the couples also. And you get to choose the couple, which is really cool because you can pick like, you want them to go to a Christian home. We definitely want, you know, um, a male, female, parents. I mean, we could pick even the salary. We could pick the nationality. Like it's a whole range of things. So yeah, it's a lot. I think of it as just like an adopting process. So I know that the couple that will adopt my babies, I know that they are going to love the heck out of our baby. So I think I feel confident and content in that. Yeah. But it's very hard though. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that process is actually there for the embryos. Like, because they don't explain that at all, like at the clinics, because like in the notes, they'll talk about, okay, here's the storage, and then there's a check mark where it says like, would you like this if you want to discard it, you want it
Mhm.
to be donated or discard. And there's nothing else that on there that actually says like donation, what those steps are.
Mhm.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought like it just donate it and then your hands are off. Like they actually walk you through like what do you mean by
Mhm.
donation and all that. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Do you know what's crazy was after I had my daughter, so they knew that I still have embryos left.
Mhm,
And when they called me to basically ask me for payment to, continue to freeze them,
mhm,
they asked me if I was done, if I was done with my family. And I said yes. And they said, okay, well, do you want to discard them or do you want to donate them to science? Basically means both options is killing them off.
mhm,
And then I was like, those are the only 2 options they gave me. And I said, "Well, what about embryo donation?" And they were like, "Well, if you do that, then, it might take like a year." And, like they basically made it a whole process. Like they didn't even tell me about it because they just honestly, they just wanted to discard my babies. So I was like, that I would tell people, make sure that when you go to an IVF clinic, make sure that they don't push that on you because
mhm,
when I signed up for it, I didn't see it on the paper also. But because I have friends that went through it and they had told me about it, then that's the only reason I know about embryo adoption. So yeah, I couldn't believe it. And it's been what, 2 years since I had my daughter and still now, like the process is very long. It's been 2 years.
mhm.
So yeah, it's a whole nother process. Yeah.
Thank God that like I feel like you knowing people and also like you brought it up. Like otherwise they wouldn't. Like I actually just feel like knowing that what you just told me, that I'm like, I can't believe that they wouldn't even give that option. Like they make it seem like those are the only two options
Mhm.
unless you know somebody. And like right now, this is the first time I'm ever hearing this because
Yeah.
again, they don't say anything on the paper. They don't bring anything up at all.
Mhm.
And for somebody that does want to have a baby that may not be able to because they may
Mhm.
not have, embryos themselves, this gives them another opportunity to be a parent.
Yes. Mhm.
And that's just so beautiful, like what you're doing, but like your whole entire mindset of like faith is so strong. I feel it's so inspiring, Dan. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that because it just really empowers me and I get excited the fact that like you're talking about your process of how you got there. That is just so it's so strong of you to be able to do that. There's no way that I can because I have such an attachment issue, which
Mhm.
is why when people ask me, do I want to adopt? And I'm
Mhm.
going to admit this, no, is because that baby that I'm adopting is mine. I
Mhm.
would not
Mhm.
be okay with that child one day saying, I want to know who my biological parents is because
Mhm.
I'm going to be like, I'm your mama. I
Mhm.
am only your mama, nobody else.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds like cruel, but I know myself well enough that I can't do that. And that's why adoption for us is not an option because
Mhm.
mentally I it's too hard for me. I want my own biological kids
Mhm.
and maybe down the road, maybe that might be, but I know since I've been 18 all the way up to I'm gonna turn 40, um, adoption has never been a thing because I am too much of a, um, my baby is my baby. I don't
Yeah,
care if it's not mine,
yeah.
but you're not gonna find out who your biological parents is because 'cause I'm your mom.
Yeah, yeah, and that's okay. That's your preference, and that's
Mhm,
totally okay. And yeah, I mean, you're gonna hear both sides, and so yeah, I
mhm,
always just say, do what's best for you,
mhm.
do what's best for your mental health, because again, like you're never gonna win when it comes to people. So I'm like, just do you, boo. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you,
yeah.
boo?
Uh-huh.
Um, so you have 6 embryos, right? 6?
Well, we have 11 total, actually, but 6 were deemed viable.
Mhm,
So the 5 that because we had all of our embryos genetically tested.
mhm,
And yeah, so 6 of them were viable and 5 of them were deemed not viable. So the non-viable ones, they kept them at a different facility.
mhm,
And so the 6 that were viable, they kept it at our IVF clinic. And so we went through all of them when we have like one viable left,
mhm.
but then we still have the 5 non-viable ones. So a total of 6 left. Yeah.
Oh,
Does that make
okay.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense. So the 6 then is going to be, donated. Have you found a family that will take, like, 1 or 2? I know you said 2 years of this
Yeah.
process?
Yeah, we haven't found a family yet because again, like we were going through agency and that
Mhm,
agency has to look for those people too.
mhm,
So, yeah, but I mean like I don't want to say we were picky, but we weren't like too picky either
mhm,
because we do want them to be adopted out. We created them for a reason.
mhm,
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't even know about this embryo adoption thing until one of my friends did it, and she adopted embryos and implanted them in her, and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I always thought that it would just have to be, my husband and I's embryo. I didn't know that you could adopt other people's embryo. And I think for me, like, so my husband is like you. He's like, no, they have to have my DNA. I have to be the father.
mhm,
And I think for me, I just love kids and I just knew in my heart that I wanted to be a mom that I will adopt anybody and everybody. I don't
mhm,
care, I
mhm,
just like love kids that much. So, but then, I was like, I didn't want to go against my husband because I don't ever want him to come back and feel some type of way.
mhm,
So, yeah, but adoption was an option for me,
mhm.
not my husband. But I just feel like um, adoption is even more expensive than IVF, so that's why we didn't
Ye
go that route. Yeah.
yeah, isn't that crazy? Like,
See.
I didn't realize how expensive that is. It's very expensive, and that's why most people, when they're like, "Oh, why don't you adopt?" It's like, well, it costs just as much as surrogacy,
Yes.
if not more, depending
Yes.
on if you're going out of the country, or it could be close to like 200 to $300,000
Yes.
with all that legal and yeah, and the
Mhm.
process is actually really long,
Exact
especially for a newborn. If you want a newborn, and
Yeah.
I only know this because I was watching 16 and Pregnant on MTV. One of the couples put their baby up for adoption
Mm.
when it was born. So they walked through that whole entire process. So MTV taught me something about adoption.
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? Like, why
Yeah.
would we try to have our own if,
Mhm.
surrogacy and adoption is more expensive? So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, whoever's gonna have your baby, they are gonna be so lucky and blessed because the two that you have, oh my God, am I in love with them? They're just so cute.
They're crazy, yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing it on social media. I know it's probably like hard to, but they are so adorable.
Yeah, I tried to show, yeah. I mean, yeah, I didn't know what to expect, and to see them so wild and crazy. I mean, my husband and I are pretty like we were, 'cause now we're too old, but we were very outgoing, we were very wild, and now I see myself in them, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh," you know how parents are like, "Oh, just wait till you have kids, they're gonna do the same thing to you," and I'm like, "Oh, I feel that now," you know? So
Mhm. Well, at least you'll be like the fun parents because like they can't fool you. You'll be like, oh no, I've been there, done that.
exactly, I'm 10 steps ahead of them.
You know? My sister actually said this to me with my niece, her daughter. She was like, Ariana, she's gonna be 14 this year. So she's going through preteen and my sister's like, yep. She's like, I already know what she's gonna be doing. And I've actually told her, it's like, if you're going to sneak out of the house, you better make sure you do it really well. Okay. Because
Yeah.
I've done that. And she's like, you better not get caught, kid.
Uh-huh.
You
Exactly.
really do it. And she
Yeah.
was like, Mom, I'm not planning on sneaking out of the house. And my sister's like, well, you better not, but I'm just throwing it out. If you are, you better go somewhere real cool and fun.
Yeah. Yes. And they yeah.
Yeah.
They're sneaking out now. It wasn't like the way we snuck out before, because we can track their phones and all this stuff now. Yeah.
Exactly, that's what my sister said. She was just like, she doesn't even know that she's gonna be bringing her phone. I'll know where she's at anyways, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So with the Asian culture,
Mhm.
how is that? Like, how did you break it to them? Like, you were going through the IVF and then also doing the embryo donation. What
Mhm.
were they thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, um, I mean, yeah. So the Asian culture, like
Mhm,
it's very hard to talk about because they just think that we get married and have babies. That's our job, I guess.
mhm,
So, yeah. I think the first like 5, 6 years, like I didn't tell anyone that we were struggling with infertility, just because I just thought that it was none of their business. But I was suffering in silence, and Asian people have like a remedy for everything, so they just kept sending me all these herbs and tree barks and all the
mhm,
medicine voodoo stuff we have. And so I think it was like the 6th year when I was finally like just fed up with it, and I'm like, okay, fine, yes, I am struggling with infertility.
mhm,
And so my family was very, so supportive, I would have to say. It's more like the OGs that didn't understand why I just can't get pregnant. But my family, I would have to say, was so supportive. I mean, thank God that I had them, because if I didn't, I think I would have gone crazy, and I think that I would not survive. So they were really easy, and what I love the most is, so I have 6 siblings, and all of them are, like, super fertile. Like,
mhm,
they have more than 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. Like, they have a lot of kids. So, um, let me think. Like, my mom has, like, 21, 22 grandchildren right now. So, I'm like, my family is huge. And they straight up said to me, like, I don't understand what you're going through. And I'm sorry, but I'm here to listen. I'm here to just, try to understand and empathize what you're going through. But I'm just going to tell you straight up that I don't know what you're going through, because,
mhm,
again, like they are super fertile. And I love that they were just honest like that, because sometimes, like, I just felt like no one understands me.
mhm,
Um, and so when I told my dad was just kind of like, "What is that? What is IVF? Like, I
mhm,
don't understand the process, but sure, do whatever." And
mhm,
so, and then like the OG people, I just kind of like ignored them.
mhm,
And my mother-in-law, like, she was so kind and so gracious, and, like, she would always stand up for me. She would tell the OGs, like, what's going on, like, "Don't talk to her in that kind of way, like, she's going through this, don't stress her out even more." So,
mhm,
I love her for that. But as far as for the embryo adoption process, yeah, I've talked to, like, my sisters about it, and, again, like, they straight up would say, "I don't know, I don't understand what that's about, but I can kinda empathize with you, because I can't imagine, like, adopting my children out."
mhm,
And so, yeah, I mean, they again, like, they've been just so, so supportive, and I think I'm at the point of, like, I don't care what people think or say
mhm,
anymore. I think I'm past that point, because, no one's gonna understand what you're going through unless they're going through it?
mhm,
So, yeah, so I just I always just try to give a lot of grace to people, and I hope and pray that people would do the same for me. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, like in the Asian culture, it's just very, like you said, the OGs, they don't know what they don't know. And it comes from
Mhm.
like the parents before them. And then they have all these, I would say like tradition with all these like medications of like herbs and like prayers and these um spells or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And um when I went through mine, it was like the OGs would be like, "Oh, you're not able to have a child because you work so hard," or "Oh, you didn't do good enough things in your past life." And like at that time, I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like this is just like it's one thing where like I don't know if you get this, but like they'll be like, "Oh, why are you so fat?" Like if growing up, it's like, and then you're skinny, and they're like, why don't you eat enough? And they're just like very like straightforward like that. And those are
Mhm.
the kind of stuff that I was like, okay, I threw very thick skin where I was like, I don't even care. Like if I'm about to go to the temple or go to the Asian event, like
Yeah.
I already know they're gonna critique me on like, oh, she gained weight or she lost weight or like all of that. So it never bothered me. But when it came to fertility and when they did that, because you're already questioning yourself of like,
Mhm.
am I good enough or why can I not have a child? And like you're trying to figure all this out. And then when they say stuff like that, it's like so hurtful.
Yeah.
Like my family, and it's amazing that your family is so supportive of what you've gone through and willing to listen. I know a lot of other people in Asian families don't have that.
Mhm.
I know my mom, it took her a while to fully understand the actual pain it was.
Mhm.
Um, my dad, on the other hand, he understood it, but again, that cultural thing where he kind of was like, "Oh, maybe it's because you're just, I told you not to work so hard." But then I'm like, "Yeah, if I didn't work so hard, it's the opposite where you would have been like, this is why you have a child. You're so poor. This is why you don't have a child now." Like it's like a double-edged sword. Like
Yeah.
it's like no, I waited until I got older because one, you're not taught in schools of You're they talk about like, "Oh, the birds and the bees, you could get pregnant right away." So,
Mhm.
growing up, it was never a thing of like, "Oh my goodness, you know, I'm not gonna be able to get pregnant." It's more of,
Yeah.
"I can't get pregnant right now.
Mhm.
Where's
Mhm.
plan B? Where's my birth control?"
Mhm.
And then when the time you actually do wanna get pregnant and you go see the doctor, that's where you end up finding out these things that is going on in your body. Like, for me, I didn't know I have silent endometrium or inflammation.
Mhm.
But they don't talk about that. So you're like, in the Asian culture, it's all about make sure you have enough money, make sure before you start a family, you don't be poor. And if
Mhm.
you have a child while you don't have a good job or education, they look down on you like, oh my goodness, you're so stupid for having a child and you're so poor and you burden the whole family. Your kid's
Yep.
going to be messed up. So
Mhm.
it's hard to navigate that when you don't have a good support system. And I think the new generation of us Asians are more supportive than our previous generation. And we're finally changing that.
Yeah.
I feel really good about it. Like even with you and like other Asian people around our age, I'm like, we're so open now to like actually say stuff like that. Where before it's like you don't say things like, "Oh, yeah, your parents, called you fat." Like, it was kinda like, "Why are you shaming them? Make them lose face," you know?
Mhm.
It's like,
Yep.
"Oh, they
Uh-huh.
growing
Mhm.
up."
Yep. Nope. Yep. I feel you. Yeah. Yeah. My thing was, yeah, you're too skinny. You need to eat more and all this stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, it's not that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, focusing on your family and your mental health, like you mentioned before, is, like, that's all that matters. Because at the
Mm.
end of it, it's like, it doesn't matter what they say. Like, their intentions are probably doesn't mean harm, but it's just that culture where they don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I agree. Yeah. I had people telling me that, because I used to be a party hardy girl.
Mhm.
and they would say, "You need to pray and repent and make sure you pray all the bad stuff away, and then God will bless you," you know? I mean, I even had people telling me I was having sex wrong and giving me positions that I needed to do. I was just like, "What?" Like, this has gotten so out of hand. Yeah.
Mhm. And you're already feeling like crap, and you're just like,
Exactly.
it's like, what you're saying to me is not helping me. You're actually making me more like, like I'm like thinking like, do they not think about this before they say
Yeah.
anything? But it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Mhm. So like, where are you as far as like, because I know you post on social media, your journey with this IVF and fertility and all that. Um, Do you talk to other Asians, like, that are going through this, or have they reached out to you and they're like, "Hey, by the way, like, can you help me navigate through this?" And, like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it kind of broke my heart when I started sharing and more women that I knew
Mhm,
um reached out to me and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this too. Hey, what are the first steps to IVF? Hey, like how did you get through this? How did you get through that?" Like it broke my heart because, again, like this is so hard to talk about, and a lot of women suffer in silence. I mean, people that did IVF that I didn't even know did it and had their kids, I was like, "What? Like, who walked you through that journey?" And they were like, "No one. I did it by myself." And I was like, "I'm so sorry." And even now, I mean, I am so grateful that I still get to talk to a lot of women about it. Actually, I am meeting a girl in 2 weeks. She lives here in Georgia. I've never met her before in person, but we got acquainted through a friend of a friend. And so, I mean, I've done like a podcast now. I've done like Zoom call. I've like became so close to a lot of friends on Instagram with women who are struggling with infertility. And yet a lot of them are Asian because, we understand the taboo of talking about it, and a lot of them don't even still don't share about it, which is fine because I want them to, be mentally okay. But yeah, I think it's so beautiful that after I started sharing was when a lot of women came out and told me that, "Hey, me too, like, I suffer from this," and, um, yeah, I just thought it was really beautiful and, like, heartbreaking at the same time.
yeah, like, connecting with you was because of that, and I appreciate you sharing that because you are the first Asian that I know that gone through this, and I felt so alone and, like, especially, like, sharing the culture part of it, like, I felt really embarrassed, like, talking to, and explained it to somebody that doesn't understand the culture. So, like, when I saw you on Instagram and saw you sharing it and we connected, like, now I feel like I've known you for so many years. So, thank you so much for, like, sharing your story, as I know it's not easy, but then also like when message you, you actually like respond and you're like, who is this creepo girl? Because I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, she responded. I was like, yeah. I was like, there's another Asian that I could
It's
talk
so
to about
funny.
this, because it's like things that it's so hard to talk to somebody else that don't understand the culture part and like understand like that side of it where they if I talk to my girlfriend about that of the culture part,
Mhm.
she would just be like, "Oh, like brush it off," or like be like, look at you like, "Oh my god, like really, your family does that?" Like it makes you even like go like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
guess my family's really messed up." You make it feel
yeah,
even weirder because
yeah,
they just don't understand it or and any of that. So,
yeah,
um,
yep,
so I keep sharing, please, because it's so
yeah,
helpful.
yeah, I mean, sometimes I think about Instagram or my social media platforms, like, I'm like, I wanna be helpful and I want to, like, share more. It's just my life is so crazy with the kids now, but in the back of my mind, it's like I want to share about it so bad because I hold it so dear to my heart just because I know like how heartbroken I was. I know the feeling of devastation. I know the feeling of, like wanting, desiring something so bad. So anytime who anyone reaches out to me regarding infertility, IVF, whatever, I am like, hey, I am here for you. Like I actually have like a booklet of names of people that I've been praying for, and I love it when I just get to, like, check them off, like, "Oh, they're pregnant." You were actually on my list too. And so, it's just yeah, I've, like I didn't think that me sharing would, like, start up with, friendships with a lot of people, but I'm so grateful for it, and, um, I wanna start an infertility group at my church too, because especially churchgoers, like, it's really hard for them to talk about. So, that's kind of like in my game plan for the rest of the year is to try to create a group where women can come together and talk about it.
That's so amazing. So now everybody that's listening in is going to be like, where's your Instagram? And they're going to start messaging you because I
Mm.
definitely say that you are so sweet and so kind. Like the fact that like when I message you, you're willing to talk, you're open, and you're so genuine. And like I said, I feel like I've known you for many years. Like I feel like you're like one of my best friends now, and I hope I get to meet you one day.
Oh, yeah, let's make it happen.
Yes, and the church, that is so amazing because I don't know, well, because I'm kind of a newbie for the church thing.
Mhm,
I like even the Catholic church that I go to, like there's nothing about fertility at
mhm.
all that talks about it. And you know, it is kind of hard to like talk about it there because again, it's such a sensitive subject. So like having a group that you're creating, that's amazing. So let me know how I could support virtually.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, definitely through prayers first, because like, I feel and this is gonna sound strange too, but, like, after I had my kids, I I feel like I'm kinda scared to talk to people now. Like, I am, like, trying to find the courage again to, like, be I mean, like, if I'm talking to you like this, like, I can be open, but, like, when I'm face to face with, like, a group of people, I just, like, shut down, and I'm just like, "What's wrong with me?" Like, I was very extrovert. I was, like, the life of the party, like, I used to be, just insane, and so ever since I had my kids, I feel myself kinda tug back a little bit, like, I feel like, "Oh, like, maybe I'm not smart enough for this. Maybe I don't have the credibility for this," But now I'm kinda like, "You do have the credibility for this because 'cause you've gone through it." Like, I feel like I just need someone to, like, shake me and just say, "Do it scared," because there are a lot of women who need you. There are a lot of women who needs to, join this group, like, they need support, and so, I would say, yeah, pray for me to be courageous because, yeah, again, like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm kind of, like, scared of people now. Like, I don't know.
I will shake you up. I'm gonna message you and I will call you on there and be like, "Hey girl, what are you doing? When is this thing? I need you to go and talk about this because
Yeah,
you're amazing. I'm doing it." Like you're already doing it
yeah,
um in itself and you're helping so many people and you've helped me and you're still helping me and I thank you so much for praying for me all the
yeah,
time. I appreciate that. You're so sweet. Oh, I wish I could just give you a hug, but
I
you
know.
can do it. You are going to go into that church and you're going to talk about it and you're going to help people and then it's just going to come naturally. I feel like that's God's calling. He's
Yeah,
trying to tell you like, "Come on, let's party it up at church."
yeah, yeah. I know every time I talk to my friends about it, they're like, "What are you waiting for? Like, why haven't you started it yet?" Because I have so many ideas of what I wanted to do. Like, I already have, like, game plans of what I wanna do, but it's just, like, the push to just
Mhm,
do it,
mhm,
I don't wanna be all talk, and, like, I already in my head, I already thought, like, the name of the group is gonna be called To Infertility and Beyond, because it's, like, to infinity and beyond, but
yes.
it's to infertility and beyond because I'm gonna open it to, like, second infertility too because a lot of women struggle with that.
Mhm.
So, I think, yeah, I'm just gonna open it to anyone who is just needing support with infertility. Yeah.
Well, when are you gonna start that?
I'm thinking in the fall because our spring groups have already started. And then because at first, like, I kept making excuses. Like, my daughter was so young, and my kids are young. They do need me right now. And so, I prayed for them and I want like their little years. I wanted to like just be with him. But now that my daughter's 2 and I have like a little bit, I don't want to say free time, but it's easier for me to leave her without having that mom guilt, and go to church and, help other women. But, and I just signed up to be a social committee person with my neighborhood here too. So I'm trying to like pace myself and not take on like too many things. But I know in the back of my mind, like, the infertility group is, like, a passion of mine, like, I can talk about it without having to, like, rehearse or anything, it just comes out naturally, so, yeah.
Well, that's gonna give you the confidence of that community group that you're on,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then take small steps for that fertility group, which
yeah.
it's gonna be in fall. So I'm gonna keep bugging you now till then, now that I know. Um, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But yeah, you are like natural at it. Like this is your calling. Like seriously, this is your calling.
Yeah, I hope
Mhm.
so, yeah, yeah.
No, I know so.
Yeah, I will keep you updated. Now that I've said it out loud, now I feel like, "Oh, shoot, I have to do it." Yeah.
Yeah, you do because now this is gonna be everybody's gonna hear this. They're gonna be like,
Yeah,
"Where's it at?
yeah,
Tell us
yeah.
more." Oh, so where can people find you and connect with you on social media?
So honestly, Instagram is probably the only place.
Mhm.
I've tried TikTok and I'm just not hip and cool enough. I just cannot get with the program. And I know a lot of people are more on TikTok, but I'm like, Instagram has become like my BFF and I understand it. And I wish that they would quit switching stuff around because I'm tired of learning new things. But yeah, I would say Instagram. It's Diane underscore Moua, my last name Moua. um, and then Facebook is really more for like my family and friends, but yeah, that's just kind of whatever. I've had that forever. So, but yeah, Instagram probably the best place. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your honesty, your
Yeah.
vulnerability, your strength. And I know this conversation has been amazing. And thank you again. So, everyone that's listening on this episode, if this resonates with you, you're not alone in this. There is a community here for you. And there's a community that Diane is going to be starting up this fall, and she'll tell us more about it. So follow her on Instagram, and I'll put that in our description. So if you're looking for more conversations like this, go ahead, follow Hope Health and Haha's podcast, and see you on the next episode.
Okay. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.